And now the mark. Oh! Oh! It went to 0.
Don't get rug pulled. Don't get rug pulled. Don't get rug pulled. Don't get rug pulled. Heard that project is a trap. Don't get rug pulled. Everything they say is kept. Don't get rug pulled. 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 Turn your savings into scraps. Don't get rug pulled. They be plotting on your racks. Whoa, whoa. We gon' know where we at. New USB for my racks. Not slipping, no, I never let. VPN changed the map. Like you know that he can't wait. I bring racks in. That's the same way I bring racks in.
Damn!
That's the same way I bring racks in. That's the same way I bring racks in.
What's up, my homies and fellow NFT collectors? Let me know if I'm live, if you can hear me all right. I got an extra lag on the stream to make sure we don't get disconnected. I've been having some connectivity problems recently. Let me know if I'm live. Let me know if we're good to go. And if so, let's go. We got a big AMA hosted by Queen VeVe, aka Lori Brenner, and she's going to be having David Yu on with her on Twitter Spaces. I don't see anybody saying that I'm live in the chat. Are we good? We good? I know there's some lag. There is going to be a little bit of lag today. Okay, we're good. Let's go. Thank you, Sousa. Shout out to everybody here. We got a minute before it starts. Let me shout out everybody in the chat. Shauna, thanks for hanging out with us. We got the OG Adam here. Blinky Blinks in the house. What's up, my man Base Lab? What's up, Riley Pearson? Lot Potato and AJ both have some very good questions for David Yu. Unfortunately, I won't be asking any questions today, but Queen VeVe did say that she will definitely be asking about the Spider-Mans that are in those inactive wallets, so hopefully we'll find out a little information about those today. Shout out to Alejandro's here. We got Frank Subake here. We got Gritty One in the house. What's up, Gritty One? What's up, Immutable Nodes? Thanks for hanging out with us. This should be starting any minute now. I've got it pulled up, so we'll know as soon as it starts. Shout out to the True Stoners in the house. What's up, my man Jared Sousa? Let me know that we're live. Thank you. Like I said, there's going to be a little bit of lag today. What's up, Christian J? Thanks for hanging out with me, Al Yu. I guess I'll refresh a few times. There's no real news going on, except for apparently there's some kind of drop going on Sunday. They said what it was, but I can't remember what it was. I don't think it was a big deal or anything. Some new drop on Sunday, some kind of vehicle. I think it was like a station wagon or I don't know. Shout out to Got to Get the Bag in the house. Let's go. We don't have a drop or anything, but I'm excited anyway because this should be an interesting AMA. And it's on Twitter Spaces, and we got Queen VeVe, Lori Brenner hosting it, and she's got some good questions lined up. I'm going to be muting myself, and I might even turn my camera off. I want to show off my new cool frame, but once it begins, you won't be hearing me, hopefully not seeing me either, and we'll just listen to see what's happening in this AMA. Shout out to Jimbo Lee Lingo's here. What's up, Jimbo? What's up, Selena Cal? Let's see, it's 9:59. Did I do something wrong? It should have started right. Today at 7 p.m. Maybe it doesn't actually start till right on the dot. It was a PT Cruiser. Ooh, I have a friend who has a PT Cruiser. He don't even drive it either. He just leaves it in his driveway and drives a second car. I think the PT Cruisers look kind of cool. They look like old gangster cars. I don't know if I would drive one. When they first came out, I wanted one. And then the PT Cruisers that are the convertibles, those look really tough. Not going to lie about that. What's up? Gabe Hernandez in the house. His new shiny thing to pump and dump. Oh, the market is definitely going to dump a little bit. I got lucky. A couple of my bigger items like my Creeping Deero and my really low edition 2 serial number Voltron Lion that I bought to flip both sold this morning before the Lamborghini announcement, so I'm very thankful for that, or else I would be down probably about another 100 gems. So I got like 400 right now. I'm trying to sell off some stuff that I don't need, but it's going to be hard to sell stuff this week on the market. Oh, we're good. Let's go. Let's get in here. All right, let me put it over here. I am on my other account. I don't think I should have any problem getting into this one. Let me make it so you guys can hear it, which would be that button right there. Might even use this one, although I'm going to have to fix my camera. It's 7 p.m. on the dot, so that's when a bunch of the members, their subscriptions renew. So shout out to all the homies for signing up for another month to be my homies. Let's go. We don't have nothing happening right now. They're just playing some music. I hope that's not licensed. Oh, well, it's not like a monetized stream or anything. Yeah, I'm going to fix the camera real quick, but we might put it over here so we can see who's talking. So you guys don't want to hear my commentary during the AMA or anything, because, I mean, I will chime in if you want me to. I don't know how exciting this is going to be. What's up, Rare Grind Beats? What's up, Carlos? What's up, Dub Dalla? We got Roger Dodger in the house. Let's go. Just watching on the OTV. I got it pulled up where you wouldn't be able to do that listening to the Twitter Spaces, but since I got it streamed, people will be able to watch it on their TVs, and then people who can't attend it be able to watch it on the replay, although this is recorded. Shout out to Jay Kills on the top of the list. We got my man Foster Hilt, Randy Chavez, not my favorite, and Tony Pittman. I do like Tony Pittman a lot. Well, I would mute myself, but what are you gonna do? Listen to the music? It's not that good. Shout out to Doctor Strange in the house. I haven't seen Are You Stacking or Slacking, or do we have to watch the video to find out, Doctor Strange? We got the Black Panther drop tomorrow, and I wasn't sure if that was an important one. They said something about it was somebody's first appearance, full appearance, or something weird like that. I'll probably buy one. You know I can't resist. When she starts talking, I'll mute myself. Who picked this music? What's up, Fark? I've not seen Fark before, but I think I like that name. Okay, Queen VeVe, she got some nice music going. They don't kick me off their YouTube for playing that. I'm thinking about going and grabbing my iPad once this starts, in case David Yu mentions any NFTs, and I think it might pump in the market. I might want to buy one real quick. I might want to be in the market ready to go in case something is said that makes something else pump. Music's a little loud. Oh. It is louder than me. I talk low and I don't even know. Y'all probably rather hear that anyway. Let me turn that up. Check it out, y'all. Just got my blue check finally.
Shout out to Will with the NFTs for that great intro. Welcome everybody to the Queen's Court. I am Queen VeVe, also known as Lori. So welcome everybody. Tonight I'm very excited to meet with somebody who needs little introduction to tonight's audience. We have co-founder, CEO of Komi VeVe, Miss no, thank you. I know that I have been courting you for quite some time. No pun intended. I think I've been courting you, and we've been trying to get together since Comic-Con, New York. So it's great that we could finally get together. How were your travels?
Yeah, not too bad. So last year was certainly a crazy year, and it was always being set out to do so, that we want to meet the fans face to face, and it was just so exciting to see so many great energy from the community. You know, the amount of fans is just surreal, beyond our expectation. And hopefully this year we will have some more road shows and coming to cities or countries near you.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm glad we could get together. So
Definitely.
let's just dig right in. We got a lot to cover tonight.
Oh yes.
Yes,
sure.
there's so many things going on. You know, I would say when Lambo, but anyways, so but we'll get to that later. So early on, you used to talk about how you would have, or you would make 4 calls every week, and you know you would share. I think you would share Apple, Marvel, DC, and you'd tell us, you know, one you couldn't tell us about. I'm curious, do you still have these calls every week, or at least frequently?
Yeah. I mean, my day pretty starts very, very early, and most of our meeting between me and Dan is set to either Eastern New York time or Los Angeles PST. We, as co-founders and the C-level executive, we do speak to our partners, vendors, licensors on pretty much on a weekly basis or fortnightly. And our whole week is just jam-packed, more than 5 calls. Trust me, we spend countless hours every day on calls with licensors. And my job is to make sure that we get an understanding how the market is and what we're doing and where the market is shifting into. Just keeping our partners and licensors always on top level discussion of that and what's relevant coming out and the program that we have with them throughout the year.
So that makes a lot of sense with your IP holders. I think one of the big questions that I've had, and even on my way, one of our great VeVe Discord mods, OMW, that interests us a little bit is talking with Apple. Now, we know that you have App Talk, obviously, we're on the Apple app, but can you comment on, whether or not you're working with Apple, in some capacity on their wearable headsets, the visors that have the mixed reality that are
Mm.
supposed to be launched? I believe it's been postponed from March to June of 2023 at the developer conference. Um,
Yeah, I mean the truth to be say, the we don't actually work with their hardware device team on at all in regards to what we don't get to see anything that the public don't get to see. They're very secretive on their development and their technology and so on, and they put these news out once they're ready. Our biggest job is to ensure that VeVe and VeVeverse works in all platforms. So it's not just going to be available on Apple. Obviously, our app already work on Apple, so naturally you will be thinking, will these content workable, functionable through their AR glasses? But we just couldn't comment until we see the specs and how it's being built out. But most definitely, Apple is one of the largest hardware manufacturers out there, and mobile device, tablets, so on. And you have seen in DesignerCon that our product will work on their tablets, Apple tablet, and Apple iPhone. So undoubtedly, we will aim to make sure that it will work on their AR glasses or virtual reality glasses when they bring it out.
Excellent. So you foresee um, our collectibles being compatible or in somehow interoperable or in the AR sense with those glasses. Is that
Yeah,
fair?
I mean most definitely. I mean
Excellent.
our job is to our vision in VeVe is to make sure that we bring collectibles to collectors through digital format, and we want to make the experience as as far as real, emotional as possible to that. And our aim is to work with everybody in regards to the hardware side of things.
Excellent. Thank you. So I'd like your thoughts on Disney bringing back Iger. I'm curious. Have you had a chance to speak with him yet? Or
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, we, yeah. I mean, but the, number one is, Iger is someone who, when he joined Disney, he bought that company from a market capitalization from like 46 odd billion to like a $260 billion corporation. Um, Undoubtedly, he's one of the most beloved CEO. And our deal with Disney was signed when both Bobs was in Disney. So, I mean, yeah, I can understand where the community thinking is at. If one leadership change to another, well, does it mean do we get scrapped or not? The fact that VeVe existed and VeVe done the contract licensing deal with Disney while both Bobs was in in the company. One, I believe, was a chairman, one was the CEO, vice versa. Versa. They all in the C level when the deal was done.
Yes, I knew that, but thank you for clarifying that. So I have a follow up on that. So you're right. There are people that speculate. Could this be bad for VeVe? Being that Iger has a pretty, a very strong understanding of, Web3 technology, but there's also been some speculation on the fact that they're building their metaverse on Polygon.
Mm.
Does this concern you? Do you think that will have an effect, on the
Um,
interoperability, if you will?
yeah, I mean, from my side of thing, and this is just me speaking, I was not aware that there was the web base was exclusively built on Polygon, or that being selected as the only chain to build on. My understanding was that uh, from what I read, was Polygon was selected to be in one of their startup program or incubator program, and just to see the technology when it evolve. And the other thing is, I think we're too early to speculate what chain and what technology. I mean, AI, for example, has been a huge push in the last fortnight, with all these major multinational coming out, showcasing what other things and behind it. And undoubtedly, part of the Web3 will have AI component built into it. And the beauty about the industry we're in is we're in the very early stage, and there's a lot of growth to happen. I certainly would not be speculate, if there's going to be one chain or another. And from VeVe point of view, is we are not a blockchain company. We don't have our own chain, and we have seen we were able to adapt and move into other areas when we see a better technology and better use. And we'll continue to do that. Our part of our job is, and our CTO's job, is to look for better technology, more efficient and cost effective. So, in that regards, I will not be worrying anything, simply because we VeVe is not a blockchain company on its own. We don't have our own chain we're running.
So, with Disney announcing that they may be, they will be, launching their metaverse with October 2023, then to coincide with their 100 years. Would that be something that you would see, that eventually there will be, just portabilities or portals where certain metaverses will be able to coexist? Um,
Mm. Yeah, I mean, we in VeVe, obviously we are working towards building a 100-year anniversary with our our licensor, which in this case Disney. Um, I'm not aware if the metaverse, or far as I understand, they have announced that they're going to be launching in October or anytime soon. I believe the October date that you're referring to on the article was actually the celebration of the 100 years. Disney will start celebrating that, and it is throughout the whole 2023 anyway. And I think that was the kickoff October. And we in VeVe, we're very excited to be bringing out products to celebrate the 100 year, and how far had this storytelling, this IP company had developed. From our perspective, we want to interrupt wherever we can, from physical. So, we talk about digital products. We'll have a line of products that we'll be launching this year. That will be a mix physical and digital with partners. And that will, and when you talk about Web3, there's many ways to talk about it. My co-founder Dan had mentioned quite often in podcasts or in real person that there already many metaverse out there application. Fortnite's one of them. Definitely Decentraland, Sandbox, Meta's building one. VeVe is just building a different one for our collectors base, and that's what we will be emphasize and very put our heart and very heavy on that side of thing. And in terms of interruptible, Phygital is something that we really believe in. Obviously, we believe in the VeVe first that will be interruptible with that as well on your collectible. But outside that, we have not been exposed to other people's technology as such. Apart from the hardware you have seen we demonstrated at DCon at this moment.
Okay. Um, thank you. I appreciate that. Speaking of, speaking of kind of like interoperability, one of the things that a lot of people talk about, or that I hear, and communities, they kind of go up and that they go down. But one kind of hot topic is, people owning their collectibles and comics.
Mm,
And I know you spoke about this the other. I watched the interview that you did with Bondic the other day. In the
mm,
interview, where you had said a lot of this is making sure that people, kind of understand and don't lose their collectibles, etc. And we seem to understand the comfort, and of being in, if you will, in a gated community, safe, etc. But what would you say to the people who, you know, say if it's not my keys, not my collectible, or if VeVe would collapse, I wouldn't own it anymore. Whereas an
mm.
NFT, you have that in your MetaMask or
Yeah,
on your ledger. You know,
yeah. Yeah, I totally understand that. And we're a big believer ourselves. Number one is, and VV pride ourselves is number one is security and the mass market. As you probably have seen, we continue to bring out bigger, better collectibles, better designs, and there are certain factors when we build this business from day one is that we think of security as number one, and that was mentioned in Matt's podcast I had with him a few weeks back. Just want to assure our audience is that in the case of the company VV in this case does go under, belly up, and with all our contracts with our vendors or licensors, we will have these NFT release into the public. So we do have a I don't actually have a word code red or anything. If something is to happen, they will be released to the respected owners of properties. So in the case of we we did fall under the artist program products will basically be open, but it will be transferred back to possibly a layer one type of thing, where users can keep the collectible that they have purchased and own. So they don't just fizzles away and disappear in thin air.
thank you, thank you, David. That's very assuring. I'm sure you're still going to have people that still like that
Mm.
idea of holding on to it themselves, but
Yeah, and 100%. I mean, I'm a major collector, and I understand what are some of the speculations out there and people fighting on VV. Number one is we really need to start thinking: is the market, is the users are well educated enough? And eventually, when we do open up the interruptible side, there'll be a lot of messages in the ad telling you, hey, once this is being sent out, this is your responsibility. Right now, our job is to build number one audience. Number two, the growth phase is building beautiful products and utility around the products to ensure that you have immersive experience, that you never need to leave VeVe, because there's just so much you could do in this ecosystem on its own. And then it is in our priority list to make sure that slowly we be interruptible with other platforms or other marketplaces of other hardware device and so on.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that explanation. Um, I'd like to ask you about a little bit about utility on some of the early collectibles. Um, I know, I'm sorry, I have a little bit of feedback. I've heard many people say, that they're afraid that, the Golden Moment set or other collectibles um, never have any chance of any sort of utility other than being a collectible.
Mm,
As Disney has recently, made their position clear that, they feel, they want to announce their utility up front,
mm.
for legal purposes. Is this a correct kind of assumption for the community to make?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah. So in regards to, and obviously we're talking about the collectible you mentioned, the Golden Moment, so on. And Disney as a corporation, and we respect that. They have their legal rights to add value, or whatever you call it, the utility side of thing. Um, their stand is that they will need to announce it out front, so it's fair and equitable to everyone on the Ethereum of the utility value in these NFT you purchase. Now, it is very important that also our audience understand that VeVe also have our own utility program happening coincide what you could do with any NFT in VeVe. So, from the stance of Disney side of thing, they are being very upfront what you get and what value you get out of it. From the VeVe side of thing is we could always be running other things and functional events where we invite certain things to certain things within our own rights. And we have seen this with, other VeVe fans, people who own the golden, gold, and silver logo of VeVe gets to go in a chat group. They discuss, they community basically built around that. So you probably will see more around pockets of different events and different holders that hold X amount of things that will get different access to events or other programs that will be running within VeVe. So that kind of makes sense. From the Disney stand, they are very clear from their legal purpose is that they are very upfront when we put the Medium article out there. That's what you get, and I believe that's their stand on that.
Thank you. That makes sense. So we know that VeVe proudly holds many first on the blockchain designations. Do licensing agreements prevent the exact collectible or comic from being reproduced on another platform? Or is there some sort of stipulation that requires at least like a blockchain designation, such as version 2?
Mm,
I know some people, raise that concern over the Illazillas going out to market on OpenSea, and there, is there, anything you can
mm.
speak to on
Yeah.
that?
So this is something we don't implement into our contract. Is that we and just so we make it understand, the audience understand what collectible is all about. Our licensors really do cherish their IP. They understand the fundamental of intellectual property, and this is their bread and butter. So it's almost you're telling me that what we really and our IP really understand is that when a collectors are buying this comic, they expect, well, this is the only version, it's the first appearance or the first print. You're never going to have first appearance of a certain superhero in two comic. They will never call first appearance of, say, Spider-Man in a new comic. So, I mean, number one is that VeVe have managed to release many of these first as a digital collectible NFT, and full stop. That's what it is. We are going to look at. We have been talking about making a book or encyclopedia to list all the product that has been coming out, like an archive, so people can be educated and learn as they go. Our IP owner also do really understand the importance of collectors out there, so they're not going to go out there to piss off fans and fandoms. And by re-releasing the same image or the same collectible out there. Vice versa, we had no intention as a company to do that as well. So we don't. I don't believe many or all our contract had that written in there that they can't do it, yes or no, but they really do believe the value of their IP, and if they do it, the fandom will lose interest in their IP and collectability of it. And I hope that really makes sense. I mean, there could only be one rookie card of this when this player comes out, or the first appearance of this character when it be introduced to a certain comic, and it can only be published the first time when the comic or publication has first come out. And far as from our collector's point of view, these are all the first appearance or first edition when it comes in digital, and it will go down the history as that simple as this.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. That I understand. So last time you were on the court, um, you were in here. I was up here, and I was asking you a little bit about Pokemon, and you said that you were still talking to them, and then recently you I think you kind of teased a little bit. Somebody asked you which fandom would you like to see, and you responded with on Twitter, Pokemon, and it kind of got people in a little frenzy because you've been known, to send out some pretty, Alex complains a lot about
Oh
that
yeah.
in you. I just want to tell you that. So, you don't strike me as a particularly cruel man, or someone likes to watch people suffer. I mean, maybe you do, Randy, whatever. I don't know. I'm just throwing it, Chad from NFT Pirates, but can you give us, you guys still you still talking? Is there still a chance,
Yeah, I mean, we keep a very open dialogue with them, and I think it's just a matter of time they feel comfortable coming into the space. Um, we certainly going to be meeting them, hopefully somewhere sometime this year in the licensing show, and just to further advance discussions or matters. Um, one of the thing around IP owners is that they're still struggling to get their heads around um, how to build, and in the Web3 space, how to have a complete narrative product that is going to give them a great storytelling. And most of the largest IP, even some of the IP owners that we work with, still on a daily basis try to grasp that. And we're starting to get some good tractions. And I think one of the major thing I talked about this year is we want to get more Japanese related IP on board, and that's my aim, or more diverse. Because right now you're seeing a lot of the IP on
so
there is
Dragon Ball
very,
Z, right? Is that
yeah,
what you're saying? Dragon Ball Z.
westernized.
Okay.
I love to have. I, and, and don't get me wrong. The issue with some of the IP owners is that they are owned by multiple partnerships or publishers and distributors. So it's not just one. And in regards to Dragon Ball Z, since you brought it up, they are owned by many conglomerates. You got Funimation, you got Sony, you got the story writers, you got the book publishers. They all somehow own a different type of rights in those characters, and it's to align them all together and to do a deal. That's the difficult bit. So you normally will have a couple of the key partners say yes, and then it gets to a producer or someone who has a publishing rights on that certain goods in digital or interactive. Um, they have questions around it. But we're getting grounds, communications going great, and sooner or later we're going to be announcing another key Japanese partner coming up, and I think is something that our audience will love, and through nostalgia, things that they have watched or play um, with and when they're kids. And yeah, it's just a matter of time when we're a bit more ready in VV, we'll announce that.
Oh, okay. Throwing a teaser out there now. Everybody's going to be guessing now, right? Like, Nintendo, like they're like people are just going to be guessing. But okay. So, in that same vein, before we switch to some other topics, we all kind of pay attention to what you tweet out, of course. And to my knowledge, you've only mentioned two things as holy grails. That's been the AF-15 and the Oswald. And just as an avid, VV collector, what constitutes a holy grail, um,
Eh,
in your
yeah,
mind? I'm
um,
curious.
yeah, and to be honest, I didn't really know the fans paid that much attention to my tweet. To be very honest, I you know, yeah, maybe now and then I've been a bit of troll, the fans, and maybe I need to bring out some stuff that, maybe we need to bring more troll stuff out there on our release this year
Oh
to troll
God.
our fans on that. Yeah, definitely. But going back to the topic of what's really sought after Holy Grail is really how I really think is anything that my heart and really desire I want to own. The AF-15 is something I really wanted to own since I was a kid, and I'm very lucky I own both digital and physical copies of these. And why is it such a significant is because the story writer, the creator Stan Lee, I have got to meet him and spoke to him. Many of you probably have seen my Instagram. I was very lucky to have some photo taken with him. Um, and he really created that whole superhero era, and the storytelling to where you're seeing the Marvel universe as of today, and the amount of energy that man have created and given to the storytelling have created enormous endless job for people, and that was from the starts of that. And the Oswell is also celebrating another key person, which is the Walt Disney, who also did the same thing in the art world, the cartoon animation, and built this whole Disney empire from that storytelling. And that was one of the first characters that he ever did. And I believe that the story when he sold that character to another company, and it was on recent year that Disney bought the character back to the family. And I thought these are very key part of it. But nevertheless, the Steamboat Willie out there, the first NFT creator in VeVe, these are all Grail products, and they play a major part. The partner statue, the gold and silver logo. There's just a whole lot of other collectible that we have issued out there. I think they are all Grail. And when time comes, in years to come, all these FA and first editions appearance on VeVe or on blockchain as a collectible NFT, they will be very meaningful in generations to come. And we only start to realize these when they become more scarce and when they become less you can't obtain them easily. And when VeVe gets more and more users on board, and it will happen, it has to happen because the adoptions is continue to increase, is um, that when you have 10, 15 million people all coming onto the platform and wanting to own one of only 3,000 edition, it's going to be very sought after. And this goes the same thing, with the Pokemon card. When I start selling back in 98, 99, the first edition Charizard, you could almost pull that one of the foil card out in every booster box or every maybe two booster box. And Charizard, I used to sell them for 30, 35 US back in 99, 2000, and it did get to about 150 bucks. But if you look at it, PSA grader 10, I believe some of the celebrities out there has been buying them up to in the hundreds of thousands, if not some of the best collections are worth millions. And this is product is going back to like 20, 30 years. And they become Grail product. Because why does this happen? Because generations of people grew up like myself. When I have a disposable income and when I want to own something, I want to own the original and the first. And as VeVe grows and our audience are growing up, and you as parents are showing your kids how cool digital collectible, and when they see it viral on AR through social media, when they grow up, they're gonna know, well, this is the original one. When my parents showed me, or my brother or my cousin showed me, now I have an income. I do want to buy one of the first appearance of Steamboat Willie, for example. And when you have so many of these people want to own one of these very rare pieces, naturally they're just going to be quite scarce, and you will have to pay based on that demand. And and the history have told us that regardless, stamp collecting from that era, coin collecting to basketball cards started from cigarette cards to toys, statues, what have you not. They all become, and trading cards, especially in basketball card. And there was one period of time in early 2000 to recent day that basketball card was not very popular. And during that COVID period, NBA card just become very sought after. And when people think about that, they go back to buying back in the 96 Skybox or Tops or Flair, and they start collecting sealed boxes, unopened packs. And these were just packs that retail stores or factories or distributor has sitting there because they couldn't sell it back in the day. Who would have thought they would be worth 100 to 1,000 times more today, uh, as a collectible product? And comic went through the whole same thing as well. And I do really believe that more and more people are now moving into digital. These things would just naturally be more collectible in years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think of a lot of us have that same belief down the road,
Mm.
um, and would agree with you. So blockchain, beautiful thing, great technology, very very transparent. Um, Recently, there's been I'm sure you might have heard, one of our content creators, Omi Daily
Mm.
Burn. He got a little tip from the community and started looking into the blockchain data and found that there were 17,000 common Spider-Man of the collectible that was spread across 250 wallets that had been inactive pretty much since the migration. So they were all minted during the migration, and then they pretty much sat there inactive until the Obi-Wan mint. There were some actually minted, Obi-Wan's minted to that account and then sent out from those wallets to other users. So that really got the community kind of questioning.
Mm.
Um, Oh, what are these wallets?
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Well, why would you want to do that? I was just kidding. I
I'm
was just
sorry.
kidding.
Wait, what?
um, nah.
We all have theories.
Yes,
No, and that's the thing. Everybody's got an
I know.
opinion.
I know.
So, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't read too much to it, and obviously because we have more important things to do at VeVe every day to push forward, and and the straight answer is that it, our user will probably know that we have a lot of bot users in the past, and this is very good in a way that we have demonstrated that as part of our hygiene in cleaning up VeVe and regarding people who violate the terms and conditions. And we want to make sure that we demonstrate how serious we take in regards to the bot users. So most of the account do and belong to the company that you have seen this activity going on. And it was because due to our success in intercepting bot users, and basically we have placed them now into our dedicated wallets. And most of these bot accounts, wallets, and collectible that has now been shifted into company wallets. And that basically we just have been doing a very successful job on cleaning up the hygiene in the VeVe users out there. That's pretty much what has happened there.
So these are under VV's possession as basically botted. They were just re, re uh, retaken from bot
Yeah,
activity.
I do believe there's over 900 or even up to a million and a bit wallets out there. And we segregated, I haven't checked how many ever wallet you mentioned, every single one of them, but majority of them, if not most of them, have been now in the company's possession.
So speaking of
Mm,
that, that that was another question. We've heard different things now and then about these accounts, these locked accounts, these
mm,
botted accounts. You know, some we've heard people will have access to them, but they can't do any transactions.
correct.
We've heard other accounts that after 12 months, you know, some kind of legal thing could
Mm,
happen and maybe you guys can reclaim them. Um,
mm,
is legally we know,
yeah,
you know, you have to be careful.
yes.
You is there any sort of, you know, is there a plan within legal, you know, ramifications, etc., or that you guys plan on doing with these accounts that
Mm.
you know, were heavily bought the collectibles in these
Yeah.
accounts?
So a couple things we just want to make it clear is that all these bots collectible, either way they're being intercepted, they have actually been paid for. So they not actually like things that we normally burn, which we do with comics and collectible that hasn't sell out. We
I'm sorry, did you say they have been paid for or
Yes,
they have
they
not?
have been paid for.
Yes.
They
Okay.
have been paid for.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
so they are unlike the collectibles that we generally burn, which we show on the public, the the metadata that they have been out of circulation supply. So technically, yes, they have been paid for. Royalty has been paid to the respect owners of that. So they technically should be circulated in one way or another. We have temporary freeze or stop their account because the activity that we've seen going on. A lot of them have not come back and reclaim them. Um, and that's why they sit there inactive in their respective wallet. In regards to after 12 months or something, we haven't made a decision as yet. We are seeking legal advice around this as well because our job is not really policing and taking things off people unless they have seriously breached. And obviously, we do give people the opportunity to contact us, to talk to us, as well as to pass the KYC. And if they don't meet those criteria, then their account will continue to be disabled.
I understand. So, like for someone like my son who, he's not going to KYC
Yeah.
yet. He's not old enough. Something like that. It's just going to stay there until I can get him KYC'd, as long as he goes in once in a while.
Mm.
No
Yeah,
problem. But
we have a lot
yeah.
of active user that uses VeVe that are no KYC, and they still have full accessibility into the AR, the look at the collectibles, so on. And a lot of them had took the advantage to merge the account since we brought out that feature. And it's really good to see the amount of people, taking up that feature and the merging. And possibly if he hasn't KYC, a merge account is possible if he's willing to give you his collectibles.
You're funny.
Yeah.
You're funny. No, he's gonna wait. But that brings up a good point. Where are we currently with active users? And do we still have a measure on that? Do we still use the same? Not we.
Mm.
Sorry. Does VeVe still use the same? The metrics. That it had at one point. Like you could. You had to log in 3 times a month, or you had to buy something, etc.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we look at active users from many different view. Really, we want people to be checking their wallet, looking at their collectibles, using the AR features. Purchasing is obviously a major part from the back end, because that's how we see how many collectible we should set the amount quantity for the next drop. But we also realize last year was an exceptional year, and we and I have spoken about this many times. Is that our job is to make sure that the collectible that you purchase, that you love, you're gonna do something with it, rather than you buying it and straight away you're gonna sell it. We wanted to make sure that the quantity that we set out on the additions versus what that item is worth in physical world, in parity as a collectible. Not saying like the Lamborghini, we're going to be selling that for hundreds of thousands of dollars. They need to be in par with what a real model collectible car, die-cast car, and the addition that they will bring out in the real life, and to ensure that we keep the inflationary under control. What we don't really like to see is items that you purchase on day one and they just go crazy in the secondary market. That's not what VeVe is all about. It's about trying to get more users on board that love collecting die-cast card. Now they have an option to buy this NFT Limbo, for example, that you could drive it in the AR mode, and you could take a photo with it because you own that. If you can't own the real car, you get to own one of these digital version of it. So from our stand, an active user is really a collector out there, and that we can entice them into move from physical to digital, whether they are just buying one item, but they are always constantly using the app to show off to their friends and family that they own that, to get more users on board. So the number is not always just about the monetary value. It's about the time they socially spend on it.
I hear you. You see my picture, my Queen's Court icon. That's my car. So, from my PFB. So, that brings us into the new branding. I like the new branding, but with anything, people are going to have their opinion. Can you give us a little insight, as to like why it was changed? The reason reason behind it. You've seen people compare it to the meta and the colors, and and recently it's been nasty out on Twitter. So if you guys ever do reward people, I think we should get hazard pay for people on Twitter. But but people speculate, that it was due to some sort of patent infringement, and that you guys don't even with the trademark, and there's issues with the trademark and everything else. Can you address that
Yeah. Um,
that a little bit
yes.
for
Yeah.
us?
Certainly, we're not in any patent infringements with anybody in regards to patent infringement. And the true story is that we designed the VeVe logo on it was actually possibly in our kitchen. We had to bang something up, and then with his multi-skill task and beautiful design, he banned up the original VeVe logo, within hours, and sent me three to look at. And I said, well, I like that one, and I like that blue, and this is how it should look. And that was how VeVe really came alive. But throughout the last 2 years since we've been up and going, and don't get me wrong, I love the old logo. We felt we need to go and attract more of a larger demographic. And when we talk about demographic, we're not just talking about different geolocate. We're talking about male, female users. We want to attract more wider audience, and this really goes in the philosophy that we have new pillars of products coming out. So right now you have seen all the evergreen characters, you got the superheroes, you got the Disney characters, you got what have you not, all these nostalgia brands coming on board. But I always been talking about the new pillars, about the music coming out in the sports, and we kind of wanted to, number one, refresh the brand to cater for a wider audience and wider verticals. That's number one. And number two is that vertical is going to be addressing a different audience. So we wanted to make sure that it's a logo that goes out, that is more, seem to be more fun, have more different ways we can implement into the different marketing and so on. And that was one of the major push around it. And basically we're hoping with that new way of positioning, we will entice new users and new download when we implement the mass marketing out there. But at the end of the day, we still call VeVe. The letter hasn't changed. They're not upside down or anything.
Yeah.
And the logo really around that is a collector in heart. We really wanted to let our audience know that our number one target is collectors at heart, and it's coming from us, myself, Dan, the team who love collecting. We went through lots of meetings and lots of times to get the new branding, and hopefully in times that when you see more pillars, more products coming out, this will really build on you, and it will just take a little bit more time, I think.
Yeah. So, speaking of the pillars, there've been some rumors about potentially, how rumors go, and they're just rumors about maybe the verticals might be acquisition, or an existing kind of NFT company. You mentioned sports, and right now we see a lot of the sports platforms, are struggling. They're like everybody else. They're in a bear market. They're not doing so well when selling out, drops nearly at the rate that VeVe is. Is there been any consideration, on a potential, merge with an existing, a Top Shots, an Autograph? I know the CEO. I can give you his number.
Oh.
He was he was on the Queen's Court a couple months ago. I can hook you up.
Yeah, the truth is that we do stay in contact with a lot of our competitors out there, and everyone's in the same tie, right? I mean, we are in the same position, and our job is to look at how we can make the market a bit better. And so, few things is that very important is that currently the market is not obviously not growing at the speed it did last year or the year before. So we, as a company, we want to make sure that we don't drop a release or major release in the same time as another competitor of ours. So timing is really about everything. And going back just to answer your question in regards to are we in talks or we looking merge? Certainly, the merger side hasn't been a topic with us at all. We have looking at collabs with other licensed partner who happens to be in another platform or another product out there. I can't really name any of them because I'm under pretty tight NDA at the moment. But VeVe, in a way, will always bring out product that is relevant to our audience, and we will always move at the speed that our audience can accept and take. Just give you an example that the honest truth for the Lamborghini, we signed that license a while ago, but we didn't actually feel that the product that we're going to bring out is going to be good enough until now. Because we back in then when we signed the license, we didn't have the drivability, we didn't have all that interactive together, and people have seen our first Back to the Future DeLorean time machine compared to this new product that we're about to release. They're huge in terms of detail, just everything, and the interactive side of things. It's just much more smoother. So it's all about timing and being relevant in the storytelling and what we're going to be bringing out for our audience. So it's not like I'm just going to drop a whole lot of sports player in the middle of halftime in VeVe and go, well, here you go, you got some cheerleaders for your superhero, and they interact together. It really needs to have a good storytelling and relevant to our audience, and we think it's good enough, because what we don't want is we don't want another fail product out there.
Understand. And the price on that again was what?
For the Lamborghini?
Uh-huh.
Speaking of Lamborghini, and I'm taking are we half time? Because I'm let's do a halftime special then, hey? Special announcement. While we're talking about the Lamborghini, it's going to be a very, very small run of these. And something that we're going to be doing this time is quite different than what we have done in the past, is that we have allocated a very small portion of the secret rare of the Lamborghini that's dropping in the coming days or week. I think it's coming out next week, isn't it? Or this week. That
Sunday.
We are going to be giving a small portion of them to the OG Omi Ikomi supporter who supported our crowd sale on our public sale when we did the crowdfunding back in, I think, 2017 or 18. So those fans out there who backed us from day one on those, and you will be receiving an email as we speak coming out to you, I think, after the drop.
What?
You will be getting one of these Lamborghini on the house from you, delivered to you. But you still have to meet the criteria. You still need to be KYC. You need to have a VeVe account and so on. So you're going to have time. I think the date we're going to be setting is you're going to have 30 days to set it up when you get the email, and you will receive one of these very special secret rare from us as a gesture to thank you for believing in us from day one. And for rest of the VeVe users, they are going to be released as a blind box. They're very affordable. They are going to be. I think the news is we're announcing the price in the edition tomorrow, but the edition is very, very low, and the price is very reasonable.
That's what I like to
Yeah,
hear. Very reasonable.
very
Yeah.
reasonable. You'd be
Okay.
surprised.
Very reasonable.
I mean,
Oh boy.
I'm gonna try to get a whole set myself. Obviously, I want it in my showroom. Yeah, and looking forward to the special secret rare VeVe Ethereum.
Okay. Way to distract your interviewer halfway through the interview.
Well, it's halftime. So that's our halftime
It's
show,
halftime.
people.
Did you hear about what happened during the Super Bowl? Just off, kind of off question here. Um, they scanned they had a barcode up for one of the commercials, and you scanned it, and it talked about a digital collectible, and you had to follow somebody on Twitter, and their Twitter, they just, I don't know, I think they gained like 170K.
Wow.
Followers, and nobody knows what the hell the NFT is or anything, but
Yes.
NFT Super Bowl
Yeah,
commercial.
I did watch it. I did read it on Twitter, and it came out in the news. I mean, God, that's a lot of money spent on that ad. Yeah, I wish I had that type of sign off to do things like that. Yeah, maybe when I don't know, maybe one day if they give it to us for free, the 30
Is
second.
Alex down there? Alex, you get on that negotiation.
Yeah,
Start working on
hopefully we get 30-second free ad on Super Bowl. I think we have to do very well to get that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Crowd fund. Okay, so I still got a few more questions on the VeVe side, but I want to switch a little bit into OMI.
Sure.
Your favorite subject, right?
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay. So I first and foremost, congratulations on the OMI token portal. I think it's a really nice tool. I think it clearly identifies, OMI, OUP priority, project status, what items is the team working on, and there's even a roadmap for the future, that aren't in that main area. And I think Reese has done a really good job, articulating the program and spreading the word. However, Reese has said that we wouldn't have any new exchange listings until there is actual utility in the token. And you saw a lot of I don't want to say a lot of, but Padawar, specifically, who is traditionally very VeVe Omi, friendly, trustful, Uncle Jeremy, kind of saying, well, there's Doge and there's these, all these various coins out there that they don't have shit for utility, but they're utility. And, you don't need that. And we're not a utility and we're not a metaverse coin. And, what's the hold up? This looks like an issue.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I totally agree with you. And I read through the feed and I get thousands of messages. I tried to read them all, but yeah, I mean, I know what they're about. Couple things I just want to that our audience understand is that we are in talks with exchanges. We're always in talks with exchanges, but we already know what our fans want. They want us to be on the top 4 or 5 exchange. They don't want any more tier 2 or 3 type of exchange. So we're working very hard. And the truth to be said is that the market, the last couple quarter has been very depressed. And the biggest issue is the exchanges sometimes is under scrutiny from our point of view as well. we were very close signing up with a major exchange, and the reason why we didn't sign up was because we were actually traveling, and I forgot to do the DocuSign on it. But if I signed that exchange listing, if not, most of our OMI holders will probably lost their OMI by now because that exchange no longer functions. So right now, the exchange is a bit more wanting to make sure that the projects are real, functional, and now also projects are vice versa are checking on exchanges to make sure that they are the well fit as well. Listing on the exchange for us is a must, and I understand that. And we'll endeavor to hopefully announce the next exchange we will be listing with and on. We just can't give you a clear time because it doesn't quite work that way. You don't just list on the exchange to go, well, we're talking to these guy and we're gonna list on that day and exact time. It just doesn't happen that way. It takes a long time for both parties to check through all the documentations. And they now ask a lot more questions, and it's a lot harder. It's not about just paying the exchange to be listed on anymore. Exchanges are more and more worried on, from every angle: community building, utility, security laws, and liquidities, and the company performance, the people behind it, everything. It's a lot more thorough than where we see in 2017, 18, and 19 throughout. So that's one thing.
And yeah, and I understand that, but I think there's a lot of people that are seeing,
Mm,
Bitcoin back up to 24K. They're
correct.
seeing, these coins that are seeing 100% returns, and it's, as far as an exchange going down, we currently on our exchanges, and I think Danny the Bull made this point. We risk those going down, as well.
Correct.
Understand we want protected in the future, but it's pretty
Mm,
difficult when it's so darn hard to find, um
yeah.
you know at,
Um,
on an
yeah. So
exchange.
Reese and I, we work quite hard on communicating and trying to get us onto a bigger, better exchange all the time. And I'm confident we are speaking with exchanges. But it's not really just up to us. It's a collective initiative from both exchange and us to find a good fit and the timing on it.
Okay, so utility is not a requirement then.
Um,
It's more of an exchange acquisition transaction
yeah, I mean,
issue.
utilities definitely out there. I mean, exchanges are certainly want to know and making sure that your utility value is not going to breach any certain laws for them to trade on your behalf or let you trade on their platform. So, I mean, it's definitely there. Utility is not always just about what your users can use your tokens for. It's also about to make sure that you steer away from certain things and it doesn't get caught up with their issue as well.
Absolutely. And I think that, I poor Reese, he's like, no one wants home utility more than I do.
Mm,
But I have heard, and just some sentiment, especially with the longtime OMI
yeah,
holders. We're coming on year 5,
correct.
right? And a lot of the people that came in not for their love of collectibles, maybe.
Mm,
um, they came in through the crypto side,
correct.
right? They came in through the
Mm,
OMI, and VeVe was supposed to be this. It should be. I
mm-hmm,
hope it to be
yeah.
this clean ecosystem between coin and product. And there is some sentiment out there that VeVe has taken off,
Mm,
to the moon, pretty hard.
yeah.
Great sales, maybe not a billion this year, David. We might have been stretching it with the billion goal, but that's okay. Stretch goals are good. Um, but they're crushing it.
Mm,
And I've even heard that, you could basically cut cut the cord, let Omi die, and VeVe will
Mm,
will live on. To hell with the funders of Omi and the people that staked the company. They're just going
mm,
to be left a slow, painful bread circle death.
mm.
And I've even heard someone say, "Well, David never talks about Omi," and it's like, okay. So, could you maybe talk a little bit about the commitment, to Omi, still being part of the system,
Yes.
or maybe it's not. Maybe you're like, yep, yep, you're right, Lori. It's not.
Mm.
It's whatever.
Yeah, certainly not. I mean, those comments you just mentioned are definitely people just speculating. I mean, myself and Dan, we had never spoke negative about Omi ever since it was born. Um, a major part is really getting the OUP up and running, and rest assured that there will be um, utilities coming out, and one of the major part will be how you can use OMI to purchase NFT in the secondary market. I know, you know, just the audience needs to understand is that it's only recent the last quarter we have brought more and more employees and contractors on board to help us build all these mission out. Um, we are going to be kicking off to building the OUP, I think on Q2 commencing. Um, and then and hopefully once that's passed through finished build, past the beta, that will be launched, and that will be a stage one. And other OUP that Reese have talked about, and it's on our websites, the idea is that it will be used a lot more in the VeVe first as well, where OMI will be taken as a primary one of the options um, for users to trade in OMI there.
So one of the things that I hear people, constantly, mess up, if you
Mm,
will, or not know, or guess about, and I think it might surprise how much people really, really, really do pay attention to everything.
yes.
I hear people say, no, they don't have a CTO.
Mm,
No, they don't have a CEO. They don't have a CFO. They don't have this. And, even today, someone said, like, Reese had mentioned hiring 2 new people on the dev
hmm.
team. Is the dev team shared?
Yeah.
Um, is it is it separate? Is the OMI side of the house and the VeVe side of the house separate, or are you guys still in that, everybody does whatever they can do kind of?
No, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we were there at the very beginning, and no doubt that's with any startup. And we do have, by the way, we do have a CTO, and we do have dev team. Um, the company operates very, still very into really in a way I like to say as a startup. We, regardless how much revenue we make, we do care how we spend and how we get the return for the dollar. We don't think like the major multinational where we can just go out and hire 500 people to do nothing or something very little. That we really like to see major output, and if this key person can help us move that stone to the next level. Um, and the engineers that we have now, and we're hoping within this 2 quarters we're going to bring a couple more squads in, and they will each work on different things, and just the audience out there understand is that the people who's building VeVe or maintaining VeVe as it is, they don't. The engineers do the engineer work. They don't do half engineer and go build a a golden moment 3D figure and put it together. They are departments within the organization where there's the product team where they do the design and they roll out, and then there's the engineering team, and then there's a team that basically look at the greater picture, and all these division have their product managers to ensure. A lot of you have met Mitch who has recently joined the company and really running the product from the VeVe perspective and ensuring that timelines are met. And one of the major things that we are um, walking away from is actually promising a hard deadline. And the problem is that myself and Dan, we in a way, we love to have everything out there. To be very honest with you, it, there's a lot of stuff I could be telling you guys, but it's probably not going to happen in the next 1 or 2 quarter, but it will happen because we have a very long-term vision. And if you look at my track history, every business that I have built has been a very long term. I don't have a exit. I don't just build things to sell it and move on to the next thing. I build them because I enjoy to be part of it, and I love the people around it. So every single member that we add into VeVe, we thoroughly walk through and make sure that they are well fit and understand what we're doing and achieving that goal. At the very start, I do have them. We basically building and bringing in people where someone's doing everything and everyone's wearing every hat. And in fact, myself and Dan, we still wear multiple hats, and that's why we extraordinarily busy, trying to do everything. And that's what keep us up at night because we want to build a very fun, enjoyable product. And it's not really just for the money. It just really, I'm in the best position ever now than I have been in my 25 career because I'm delivering and building things I love and sharing it to people. And in the same time, people are talking about it through the social. So we want those team members to come in. And it is very important that our audience need to understand to have that dynamic in any company, it does take time because you try to fit with that culture and you try to bring in people that understand what this whole business and the fundamentals about.
Under, understand. So, so you were conservative on the hiring because we hear that a lot. Well, why don't they just create a bigger team?
Mm,
Well, why don't throw money at it? Why are there only two people? Where
mm.
so
Um, and,
so
and and
yeah.
and the other thing, we don't really have we don't really bring, and we probably should, eventually we will introduce more and more team members out there. A couple of the reasons is that we don't want fans to start harassing or sending thousands of messages. And, for example, our customer service team gets hundreds and hundreds of messages a day, and some of them are probably just personal messages to go, "Wow, you should be treating me this, doing that. Why are you doing this?" And we listen, but what we don't want is our CTO or our engineers start getting these messages where it pull them off track. Our goal right now is very, very simple: is to complete the roadmap and build these things that we had promised, and it's on our in our pipeline, and we need to deliver them. And
Yeah.
we need to deliver them fast.
And that's why I like the utility the portal because it did lay out there's a lot of things we might not like that it's 0% or whatever, but it's all laid out there. Have you ever considered maybe using a similar approach on the VV side, like that same kind of model? Because I know you guys are dealing with things that are so much bigger than to worry about it, but it's things that just people, and maybe that won't matter in the long term, but for the people that are here right now, it matters a lot to them. They feel like for the most part this is why I came in. There's one person that really just wants to know comics and showroom, and I know that's probably one, maybe it's
Mm.
100 down the list, but just something to say, yeah, it's on the agenda, or yeah,
Yeah.
this is in progress, or
Mm.
what, we talked a little bit out of our behinds maybe 4 years
Mm,
ago, and we're not going to breed rabbits anymore or whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, it just so that, because if not, like I could, there's some other things here. I have still have people that said, ask him about the midnight chupacabra, ask him about the VeVe letters, the
Oh, yeah.
localization, the transfers,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
sales data.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I can't ask him all these questions.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I appreciate that. And by the way, we are working on all those. They're probably not 100 down. I need to check with Mitch if showroom and comic and VV letters. We do need to get them out. And I do apologize. We will look into those as soon as we can. Um, yeah. We definitely have been overswamped with a lot of new features we're building in. And the teams are working honestly tirelessly to get all these bugs and searches, everything out. Uh, it's something I think most people uh, probably, uh, yeah, the audience needs to understand that this is a multi move. There's so many movement parts in the business, from licensing to 3D creative to the Unity to make sure this functions, to the mobile capability to ensure that this product's going to AR stream it out well, to the blockchain on the minting it, to the app developing it. And it comes down back in the circle. There's just a lot of things in each pipeline. Sometime when you add that feature in there, something else will go in, will not go the way you want it to go. And that's what really take a lot of our times out to fix these bugs. And I think even myself this morning, I received an email that I'm part of the new beta for something, and it warns me, hey, there's a lot of good bugs you need to be prepared for if you want to be part of this program. And I think it's the MCC program, actually, Master Collector program. And
Yeah,
I only
that
got
was
my
the next
invite.
question. Now that was the next
I
question.
swear to God, I only got my invite this morning myself. So if any one of you think, we get to jump the queue, we don't. We get selected based on certain criteria. And I was very lucky to receive my email invitation this morning. So the Master Collectors program is coming. It's on beta. And I think a lot of the users out there will probably have received similar email as I have today. And that basically is a stage one to make sure it works before we roll it out to everybody.
Yeah, I know you promised not to do it, and you scared the hell out of me in that November, December when you said by the end of the year, and I'm like, no, David, no, stop, please learn,
Yeah.
no, no. Um, and that was rough. That was really rough. Like that hurt a little bit
Mm.
because I there was and then of course I think it was Mitch that came back and said we don't care. I'm paraphrasing here, but we know we said this, but we're always going to put quality
Yeah.
above timeline, which is also uh, key key in any business.
Mm.
But maybe you should stick with like quarters,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, maybe years, maybe just go with a
Yeah.
year,
I mean,
2023.
sometimes
But
something that the quality of the new members coming on, like Mitch, for example, he wants to make sure the product is well tested before we just deliver them to the users, and then find out, we need to change this whole thing and we need to take it apart and redo it. So I do want to summarize last year. There was few things that really took us by surprise, and it was actually never on our roadmap, and that took a huge chunk of our team and development. And that was number one, the bot users. We were spending day and night conquering that issue. That was number one. And there was another major feature that was never on our roadmap that we have to deliver, and that took a lot of time. It was the payout feature. The gems, the in-game gems was never intended to have a payout. And we were trying to figure how it's going to be done and finding the banking partners with a MTL license and so on. Some of these features just takes you off a tailspin that you would not believe. If we didn't have these major things that we had to deliver for our users, because we do listen, and the whole team basically just focus on that other thing, we'll never be this behind. And the beauty about what Mitch is putting together now is putting in teams and products first. Products needs to be good enough to be delivered. And and that's why Dan looks after that whole side of the business, and I look after the other side to ensure that great IPs and collectibles are coming out better and better. And that's why we work so well, and the team functions and can able to deliver a new show every single week to our audience. So in one hand, I need to make sure that I don't pause any releases. I need bigger, better IPs to be out there, and then Dan's pressures. I need to meet Dave's demand to have that drivable car. I need to meet all these other deadlines. So the teams are basically scrambling, trying to get that done. But now we have
And the Omi
segregation.
side, and the
Yeah,
Omi
and then
side.
the OMI side's on top of it, and that the OMI side's all more around the utility side of thing, and
Right.
as I had talked about earlier, the OUP.
I thought you were going to say Reese and throw him
No,
on.
never. Yeah, Reese does work very, very hard, and yeah, I mean, everyone does in the team. And as I say, that side, they'll be commencing work on Q2 this year on the OMI to the NFT on the secondary market, and obviously that will expand into the VeVe eventually, and more utility value will come out from there.
Do you foresee 2023 being the year that we might have VeVeverse?
Yeah, we are aiming to bring out the beta version for trial for few users around end of Q1, beginning of Q2. And obviously, we are bringing them out, like Dan had mentioned, is in two phases. We want to make sure that it is around your surrounding, your home, and what you can build around it. The exciting part is that most of our licensors um, have verbally told us that they are excited to be part of the accessory. So you might see branded couches, furnitures, fittings, to put inside your VeVe home, and that's the beauty of
Great
that.
accessories to burn Omi. We like that.
Mm.
So, we like that. So, was there a particular reason, other than perhaps just, being a lot of data, that the decision was made, not to count uh, acquired MCP points from merged
Yeah.
accounts?
Um, Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I actually had to ask Dan just to make sure that I answered this correctly. And the truth is that it is a very pressing task if we had to account that we just endless of data and engineering needs to go behind it to make it work. And it just came to a conclusion that if we were going to do all that, the MCP will need to be delayed by a huge pushback, and we just decided, to reduce that friction. We'll roll it out with a more simplified version internally to make this happen. That the configuration of data it needed just an immense amount of power we need and resource, and we just haven't got that.
Understood. Somebody brought up the question about, some of the some of the NFTs tied with going to the movies, and that there were NFTs that were minted, but they were never, or collectibles that were minted, but we don't have that many people who actually collected, that actually claimed them. um, Obviously, you would have to work with, I would imagine the IP holders, but do you have a plan on whether those unclaimed collectibles, are those going to be potentially burned, or any discussion
Yeah.
or redropped? Or
Yeah. So as part of our trial last year is to work with movie studios to do a day and day release NFT for promotion purpose. And we seen a lot of them had a really fantastic uptake. And obviously there are few markets, and the early adopters in that cinema might not have taken up that free NFT, and as a result, not all of them have been claimed. Um, our contractual agreement with these licensor and cinema partners is that these are not never to be sold. So they are going to be fairly rare, and it is very likely we will be burning them. And that brings up, another task for me. I do need to bring that up with them to see what we should be doing with them. Um, I do not believe they will be sold because they are not a revenue generator. We don't really do not make any money doing those releases. It is out there as part of our initiative to get that mass market users to download the app, and where we see fit. And we will continue to run those programs this year. We do have a couple more quite major partners will be working with us to help us reach that mass market audience.
great, I can't
Mm.
wait. So, given the popularity and the money poured into like a Fortnite, and I could speak just, as a parent, where, there's so much money for a character, or a skin, whatever, and there's actually no tangible assets that are gained, really, as a result of this. You use your skin and then it goes away, and you know you're left with nothing but your credit card bill. And myself and a lot of parents, we don't you don't really think too much about that. um is VeVe still, I know early on, going back and watching some of the videos with you and Al and Dan, talking to various licensors, etc. There was really a talk about like getting kids involved, getting them involved earlier, given all the I don't want to say problems, given all the limitations with KYC, etc. Do you think we're going to be able to get to a place where kids are going to be able to, function within the app and purchase, etc., and use it?
Yeah, that that's a great question, and we constantly in the company to look for new ways to entice and onboard new collectors. So there will be few things that we're going to be doing this year. Number one was the rebranding, which we have talked about, and number two is these new vertical that we're opening up. And the idea is that we really believe that there's a market that's greater than just these evergreen superhero characters. That there will be car enthusiasts that wants to collect car products, and we look forward to this limbo drop, um, to get hopefully to get new active users. Number and the next thing is that we are going to look at how we can move that KYC further down the food chain when you sign up the app. What we don't really want and where it is right now is that the minute you want to buy something or get in the app, we ask you to put in your ID, driver's license, or passport and do all the checks and not. So we're working to move that process down when you start trading and when you buying or selling within VeVe. And other things that we're going to look at bringing on mass market is we really need to build a world-class product. And that's what we always keep talking about. Number one is this is an entertainment app. How can we get more people to share? And we have already seen hundreds, if not thousands, of pics people take with their AR and share it viral. And that's how initially we got a lot of these users on board. We need more and more users, and so we need to make sure that this product, this app, is going to be fun, and there's other great utility value out of it, and that's what Fortnite's all about. I mean, people now stream Fortnite on YouTube, and people watch them. My brothers could love watching people play Fortnite
Yeah.
for the value of entertainment. They actually just get a buzz out of it watching people, the commentators, talk about the characters and what have you not. And that's what that entertainment value is. And VeVe is still trying to find that great balance of, sure, now you show me you standing next to your Spider-Man or Batman. I want to see more. And part of this new launch of that VeVe on the home will demonstrate that you can start build your own collection, and you will have a sense of things to complete, and you feel satisfied and enjoy doing it. And we're already seeing a lot of the VeVe fans out there with the photoholics. We've seen people have put great videos out there using collectibles that has been released in VeVe, and running competitions and running into like VeVe 500, for example, and people enjoy watching that. And how do we take that into something even greater? Is basically what's on our roadmap, and that is part of that rebranding, which I keep going back about, is that we want to attract that mass market audience and those new verticals.
Yeah. With some of those products or those kids things are licensed, I know that LOL dolls was mentioned at one point, and the Little
Yeah.
Prince. Is VeVe in any kind of danger with time running out on those? Or any of the unreleased license. I
Mm,
know that you guys had quite a few, but
mm,
sometimes when Marvel or certain companies want things done, I'm sure there's various
yeah.
priorities. Um,
So,
you know,
yeah, I mean, the our girls, I believe, is scheduled to come out around April this year. So our fans should be looking forward to that. Ones with who they're beloved. They're one of the biggest selling dolls in the world at the moment still. So that's April, and just addressing like Little Princess, and that was one of the things that the development team finished the product. They felt that we should be going out with a stronger finish and product offering. So instead of releasing a mediocre type of figure, we redoing it, and we're gonna immerse and build a better collectible around it. And it is our decision that we hold back that, and that will be coming out hopefully around June, July quarter, around that quarter this year as well. So nothing on our license that we have announced. It's just gonna fall off the cliff, and yeah, they don't get released. And just saying also, and that's one of the reasons why we stop announcing major brands, and when we announce things, we want it to be closer and closer towards it. March 2023, not 24. It's going to be a massive month. March this year, you will see a lot of cool new brands coming out. Yeah, so get those gems ready, or yeah, there'd be some cool
those
stuff.
wouldn't coincide with a lot of the new movies coming out or anything, would they?
No, not new movies. I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know, but I don't believe those IP have new movies coming out. But they're probably celebrating something that we have tied it in the same time. But the month of March is going to be a chocker block. yeah, this year's well,
Yeah, my husband telling me Transformers, Flash. He's naming all these movies on the side.
yeah, there's some really good IP, and I think there's an IP that everyone will have grown up with and love. So watch that one. Yeah, that's going to be
Okay.
another Grail. Yeah, it's totally you probably would never think of it, but it's very cool.
Can't wait for it.
Yeah. Okay. So wow, David, we're doing really well. I am almost done with my questions I have from you. Um, these ones are obviously the last ones I left here. So recently, I don't know, you said you guys are busy. You don't have time to necessarily react, but over the past, we go through little flare ups, in the community. Part of that's probably Bear Cycle, you know, collectibles are down, comics are down, people, it's just the way it is. Um, One of the things that comes up a lot that we hear like about the mints that are held back,
Mm.
the sub
Oh
40s,
yes.
and and from a blockchain perspective, I think it's pretty clear. At least Omi Daily Burn, pretty much said that the majority of those are in the wallet, in the VeVe wallet, and some are in the Marvel wallet. um, but a lot of people kind of questioned, how are those? Is there a plan for those? I know that we saw, I think the Slimer 39
Mm.
was given, etc. Is there an actual plan, or do those just belong to, VeVe and Marvel, and you will do with them, kind of as you see fit?
Yeah, yeah. So to address that question, and we talk about it within the company quite a bit as well. So a couple of things. When we release a collectible, we always tell you how many edition we're minting. If we're minting 1500, it's 1500. So our number one is our audience and users should always anticipate that's how many is going to be released. And obviously, the lower mint number, there's people going for those series. They find it obviously it's very sensitive that they want to get closest to the number 40 or 41. And the honest truth is, number one is, back in 2021, when we launched that 2020, end of 2021, the early people who got into VeVe was able to purchase from number 16 onwards. Because the company was only holding back about 15, and so you will see circulation in the marketplace in the early VeVe releases that there's the lower number going out. And to address the
Right.
question on the
Because you could get them right off the market. I wasn't around for that, right?
yeah,
But you could just get them right off the
that
market.
that
Yeah.
that, that is correct, and that's how the system was done back then. And then when we start signing up bigger license, and they ask for samples, because in licensing, you do have to send them 30 or 50 of something when you first manufacture, and the license will use them as a QC to see if there's defect from the number one product you send in and the number 30, if there's difference. They want to make sure that it's very consistent. So they practice that on digital as well. So they want X amounts held back for them, and this is very standard in the licensing. And that's when the practice of going up to 40 was held back, was kept back. And then there was one stage, the company ran into some issues with the gem issue, and we had to untwine some. And then we were running competitions for marketing, and we definitely rewarded some users on certain pieces. That's the lowest sub 40. So number one is, users out there, they must understand when we say there's 1500, they will always need to think there's going to be 1500. The issue will come in if we have more than 1500 and we're minting more than what we promise. But going back to address the question, what are we going to do with the company wallet? You are right. Some of them have actually gone to our respected license partners or holders, those that belong to them, and we have limitations what we can do with them, or we can ask them to do. And we have discussed internally with the one that's held in the company, do we eventually burn them or basically delete them out of circulation? So these are all up for debate.
So that's a TBD.
Yeah,
I guess.
I can't give you a firm answer, but I just want that the way I addressed it really is to that you understand that they are circulating. If they're not shown on the app as being burned, they are still there. But we'll make a decision coming up what we're going to do with it. From Dan's perspective, he think really the company should look at burning them to I understand why, and we will just address it when the time is right as well. And we do need to talk to our
Yeah,
partners as
yeah.
well and our licensors.
Well, it's funny because other NFT projects, do give away NFTs to different reasons for different people, but the community, that has a way and with blockchain, et cetera. And there's been people that have said, oh, well, these people, because they've done this, they get sub 40s and they get this, and and it's just like, well, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but no, nobody, nobody kind of really has ever said, well, this is what's going to happen, even if they're ours, we own them, and we do what we want with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
We haven't actively been giving away any of them for any way or shape or form. But at the end of the day, right now they do belong to the company, and we just haven't made a call what to do with them as yet. But we also do understand the value of these low mid numbers. So our job is to make sure that the market's not flooded with these collectibles, simply because we understand the sensitive nature of it and what makes a product collectible. We're not going to flood them in
right.
the market as such.
Right. Well, it makes sense now, the 40, because, there was always this question, why 40? Even even I think on the t-shirt drop, the decon t-shirt drop, there was like what 150 or something, and you guys kept 40. And everyone was like, why doesn't that 40
Mm,
correspond with the mint size? Is it just like a setting that, VeVe just doesn't want to change, for each mint or something like that. But I see that was based on an industry standard that predated
yeah,
NFTs, and you guys just kind of kept that as the
that's
standard.
correct. Yeah, yeah. But rest assured, we understand the sensitive nature of why people so want us to address it, and we will when the time is a bit more right. Um, yeah, I mean, right now it's all about all the other features and the tech behind it. That's our most priority, on our list.
Understand. So, Elon recently tweeted a picture of the Up House getting
Oh
shot
yeah,
out of the sky. So was that confirmation of a SpaceX Tesla VeVe super collab?
totally
Just to
not true.
confirm.
Totally not true.
Why are you always wearing SpaceX clothes,
I
David?
love.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, I was very, very lucky to, have, close friends and being invited to the launches in SpaceX. I was, just to, and he's someone who I really admire and look up into. I mean, this guy's built multiple unicorn companies and always ahead of everything. I mean, yeah, I mean, AI is another major topic. He was one of the co-founder in the OpenAI ChatGPT. Just someone who I look up to and inspire. So every day I work harder, not just because I enjoy what we do here at VeVe and bringing up beautiful collectible, but we also want to be part of that movement, changing things, and do something special and be a leader in that forefront of that industry. And yeah, really that's the narrative really behind it. Yeah, but I'm not saying no as no, because you never know if we're going to do something. But yeah, it wasn't an announcement or anything as such.
Okay, if you say so.
Yeah.
If you say so. So, yeah. So to just kind of wrap things up, I on a on a positive note before we get closing remarks, we're getting pretty close to the time. It's 10 minutes to 9, and I know you've been talking a lot, and I I can't tell you how much I appreciate you just coming here and giving us the answers. It's been challenging lately, so I think a lot of people have been looking forward to kind of hearing from you.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have been traveling and you're busy doing things and probably not keeping track of the Twitter wars that are going on. That's probably not on your main agenda. Um, but some of us do. But on a more pleasant note, I guess I've been working with Al
Mm-hmm.
Khan and the community lately to support the First Responders Children's
Mm-hmm.
Foundation. We've done a few raffles so far, and as a matter of fact, just yesterday we ended a raffle for a signed Pokemon
Oh wow.
Pop by you and Dan and Al. It's a Pikachu Pop.
Mm-hmm.
Probably don't even remember signing that, but I was gonna, and it was from Germany too, and they donated it back
Oh wow. That's
to
nice.
put out for another raffle. So lots of good things. So I was wondering, and given that you had talked about charity um, on the space, well, I keep saying yesterday on the Gondik space and the importance of fuel credits and charity and
Mm.
some of the charity you've done for the recent war efforts. Is there anything planned from a VV charitable perspective this year? Do you have anything planned with, the
Mm.
Clinton Foundation or any previous rewind or anything
Yeah.
like that going
Yeah.
on?
I mean, we yeah. Number one, we have been approached by sorry.
Sorry, I was trying to let Alex
Okay,
up and I
cool.
muted everybody. Sorry.
Uh,
Go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry. Charity.
So
Go ahead.
in regards to the charity side of thing, we are looking quite closely in few things. We have spoken, yeah, like with a number of charity organization. We probably look at something around the Turkey Syria earthquake, which we paying quite a bit of attention and to. But we need to come up with something more concrete, that has yet been set. Um, but definitely, that's on the horizon for this year. We'll probably look at kicking off something, but we also want to make sure that we get supporting artists on board, um, to do something that's meaningful in that regards.
Excellent. I think we look forward to it. And, Queen's Court, we're doing physical charity
Mm,
events all the
mm.
time. So maybe you could peruse one of your many
Yeah,
warehouses.
yeah,
Not no
yeah.
pressure or anything, David.
Yeah,
I just.
yeah. What's this Queen's Court Spring Charity Drive?
Yeah, yeah, that's your feature. We're featuring a collectible straight from David Yu's collection,
Yeah.
private
Hey,
collection.
David,
Yeah.
you have a bunch of stuff in my garage you can give away.
Alex Alex keeps complaining about
I
his
wouldn't say
damn
complaining,
garage, David. Okay. Well, okay.
more so that it's like a reason to charge more on my paycheck for rent.
Yeah.
No,
Negotiating.
negotiating. Yes.
Negotiating. Do you have that Super Bowl commercial funded and booked yet,
Oh
Alex?
yeah, yeah, great. The next 3 years in a row, we have 60-second spots. Fuck 30.
Yeah.
We're doing 60.
And
Perfect. Can you get the halftime person to flash the barcode up too
Yeah.
while they're dancing, please? So so what's going on, Alex? Any did you have a question, a comment, or
No,
any?
just wanted to say great space. Thank you for holding this. Always great to hear from Boss Man. So solid A on the space. I give David a solid B plus on responses, but that's okay.
Wait, why? What affected his grade? Was it the Lambo giveaway?
Yes, in fact, that's one of the things, and that I just found out about that just now. But also, just a couple of minor points of clarification because I know I'm already getting hit on Twitter about two things in particular. The VeVe letters drops. That is 100% tied to the waitlist functionality.
yes.
So that is not a matter of us not delivering them.
Okay.
They're all fully, yeah, that is contingent on the waitlist, in which the last community update was said that it was the next highest priority after MCP. So MCP, as you know, code base went into release with the last app release, and so the beta testing is now beginning on that. And so as soon as that's certified and shipped, waitlist will then be the next on the priority list. So everybody who attended the Decon kickoff party last year will get their letters as promised.
Cool. Are those old style or new style letters? I'm just curious.
Always new style. The
New
beautiful
style.
new style logo that is now the logo. The old logo is just that. The
Is
old
it
logo.
trademarked?
Yeah.
Is it trademarked?
Um,
Okay.
Also, quickly on the point about Disney utility and the question you asked about announcing all of that stuff up front. Yes, so Disney and Marvel are definitely very particular in how they approach those things and announcing things up front, etc. That doesn't mean that that is off the table for good. So I know the question was in particular leaning towards um, older collectibles like golden moments, etc. I wouldn't say that it is off the table. The discussions continue, and we're just really trying to find ways, in addition to what David mentioned about having, within the VeVe ecosystem, having utility, etc. Really looking towards what other functionality we can introduce that would offer some level of utility, right? And what that utility is remains to be seen. It's probably not something that we've done yet. Probably not something like an airdrop or an allow list, etc. But it may take a while. But it's a work in progress, not off the table.
Understand. So maybe something like if you own it, you could be on a wait list for something else or something like that in the future.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I mean, yeah, I said probably not like that immediately, but I'm sure that is definitely one of the things that we pitch in terms of our available types of utility, right? And there are things that we haven't conceived of yet that are in discussions about things that we'd love to see in terms of utility. Or with any kind of collectible that has been dropped, and if a licensor has reservations about doing retroactive utility for. But there's plenty of functionality in the works from a development standpoint that will allow us to be a little more flexible in that regard.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for those points of clarification.
But otherwise, great job.
So, no, thank you. Well, one of us got an A. Thank you. Well, just kind of in closing, then, to keep on time, we did really great. 8:58. David, like I said, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. It took a while. Like I said, it took a while to get our schedules kind of coordinated, etc. But, thank you for coming through. Good timing, just great timing right now. Lots of, I think, really pertinent information that's really been on the community's mind, at least, in the Twitter sphere. And just really appreciate you taking the time. And there's probably going to be a time, well, hopefully there's going to be a time when you're two you're too busy to do these things. You'll say, so, but I'm glad for
Yeah,
now that you're not. And we appreciate hearing straight from the horse's
thank you.
mouth, if
I
you will.
mean, thanks for having me on, and hopefully that help answer a few questions or hurdles the fans out there have, and just keep in mind, you know, we're not a perfect company like every other company out there. There's things that we prioritize might not seem to be as important to one or another, but we certainly are trying to get to every single issue, problems, and try to resolve. We do hear what our fans want. We try to build everything. So this is like the one app, for everyone. And it takes time. And hopefully the community will keep staying with us and to build this together with us. There's a lot of exciting times to come. I mean, we're seeing a lot of new technology and the movement around, even in AI we have seen in the space in the past weeks. Yeah, and hopefully we'll do our best to deliver all our promises out there, and on time as well. So thanks for having me, and yeah, thanks again.
All right. Well, thank you everybody who listened, and we will see you all next Wednesday. And with that, we're gonna let Will with the NFTs take us out.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
I'm on that VeVe. I'm assuming they're gonna play that song. What's up, everybody? It is over. The AMA has ended. 2 hours on the dot. Well done. I agree with that. Oh, let me get a little closer to my mic so y'all can hear me. I agree with the person who said that. I think that was a pretty decent interview. Somebody, Big A, asked about the Spider-Mans, and it'd be nice if I could actually go back and listen to the whole thing again. Well, not the whole thing, but just that one part to hear exactly what David Yu said about the Spider-Mans. But what it sounded like to me, let's see if we can play the recording. Not yet. I have to go back and listen to the recording. It sounded like what he said to me. Cheers, Bob Sells. I know you got to go to bed, my man. Thanks for hanging out with me. I was just kidding about you leaving early. Go do work, man. You got stuff to do. On the Spider-Mans, he said, he started off by answering it saying, well, we were so successful with the bots. Her Twitter is at Lori Brenner13. It's on the thumbnail. So he started off by answering the question about the Spider-Mans by saying, well, we were so successful with the bots. And then I think he was pretty much saying that they confiscated the Spider-Mans from botters and put them into VeVe wallets and that they wouldn't leave or anything. Yeah, I guess that's what he's saying. Well, what I don't understand would be, why would the bots buy 17,000 Spider-Mans after the drop didn't sell out and those Spider-Mans were selling for less than retail on the market? Because, bots' whole thing is trying to get profit. They're trying to make profits. No problem, guys. My man Big A wanted me to sum up the whole part about, am I blurry? Yeah, don't worry about it. I look better blurry anyway. I just wanted to sum up the part about the Spider-Mans, and like I said, I'll have to go back and listen to his exact words. I'll probably have a better explanation for you during tomorrow's live stream, because we do have a drop tomorrow. The Black Panther comic is dropping tomorrow. I'll definitely be live for that. I actually will not be streaming the Chucky drop. Probably going to skip that drop, I ain't going to lie, but I'm taking my kid to go play basketball or the trampoline park or something. I don't know. We're doing something. So I won't be streaming the Chucky drop, but I will be streaming the comic drop. So I'm going to listen to this in the morning a little bit better, especially that part about the Spider-Mans, and then hopefully I'll have a better explanation for you, Big A, and anybody else who's wondering about them. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me during the AMA. This will be posted on my channel for replays if anybody wants to go back and listen to it again. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me, and I will see y'all on tomorrow's, I don't know where my, oh, there it is. I'll see y'all on tomorrow's drop day live stream. Later, guys.